Now this is a Lord of the End Times. Did you see how big he was? Okay, I'm not going to scroll the camera up at all. I'm at the same height I was, and you saw the upward angle I was looking at. Archaon, and now look at these regularly sized Marauders. Yes, guys, Archaon is f***ing huge now. He's bigger than the spawns. As you will see in a future replay, he's literally bigger than Boris Ursus on his bear. He is ginormous, and that's awesome. Today, I'm facing off against the dreaded Anticity in a domination match on another new map, the Grove of Slaughter. I'm going to go ahead and just cut away to the army builds real quick, and then we'll come back and watch a battle. I just wanted to open with Archaon because he is absolutely massive now. Archaon Thanos Gauntlet Spawn build. That's right, one of each spawn powering up the Lord of the End Times. And that's also right, Warriors of Chaos do get access to marked units. Now, I can't show you the UI for it right now, but essentially the way it works is with unit caps turned on, you can take up to 4 marked units. For units that have, both marked and unmarked, undivided, I should say, variants, like the Chaos spawn, when you pick the unit, you can then customize them as you would a Lord by clicking on them, and you get an option for each mark. So also, for example, Warriors of Khorne, right? You have Warriors of Khorne with halberds and Warriors of Khorne with shields that both share a variant with a base undivided Warrior of Chaos unit. So you do the same thing. You can say, okay, I'm going to go in and pick my unit of Warriors with halberds, and I'm going to choose the Mark of Khorne for them. That will take up one of the 4 marked slots. Keep in mind, Sigvald does count as a Slaanesh marked unit. Big Bird, good old Sarthorael the Everwatcher, counts as a Tzeentch marked unit. Warriors of Chaos also get access to, like the Slaanesh Mortal Cavalry, the Hellstriders, get access to the Warriors of Khorne with dual hand weapons, right? Get access to Skull Crushers, right? That's the Warrior Elite Khorne Cavalry, and also Doom Knights of Tzeentch. Again, Knights with shields, you can take the Tzeentch mark on them because that's available in the base game. But anyway, just wanted to explain that quickly before I go over my build, just so it makes sense. So yeah, we have 4 marks, all just taken by spawn, and I just decided to do this mostly for fun here. One of each spawn, Manticore, and then some Marauders to support them. In reserve, we've got 3 Forsaken, another Manticore, and lots of Vanguard units, 2 Hounds, 2 Poison Warhounds, and 4 Marauder Horsemen with Chariot. That's not Vanguard, it's just kind of here, and a couple of Horse Masters as well. For Anticity, my opponent, he's got Marathi leading the way, K-Knight Assassin, 3 Scourge Runner Chariots, and 3 Repeater Crossbows with a single spear, very much sort of reminiscent of Dark Elf strategy in Warhammer 2 against Warriors of Chaos. Got some Sisters of Slaughter also, and Blades of the Blood Queen Executioners in order to support them. Planesh's Harvesters, 2 Shades, and a Feral Manticore, plus 1 unit of Cold One Knights. Now, back to the battle. And we're back. So, let's look at the deployments then, in terms of the new objective markers and everything. This is, of course, an old FFA map. We've got 1 objective marker here in the center, objective number 2, and then 1 on each flank, objective 1 and objective 3. For reinforcement points, there's 3 main reinforcement points in the back, and then 1 Vanguard each in the woods here, kind of in between the edge of the map and this rock. Hidden in the woods, so your units will deploy immediately hidden, as you can see with these Chaos Poison Warhounds. You might still get a marker, and I think your enemy actually gets a marker here as well. You can still tell if units are coming off of those points, you just won't be able to see what they are, and everything else. So, now getting into it here, of course, we've got Dark Riders with Repeater Crossbows opening up all over my Thanos Gauntlet of Spawn. Some Marauders advancing. Nice Spirit Leech on Marathi. She does have, of course, spell resistance, but that fancy new animation of Spirit Leech is going to come in, do a little bit of damage, and just kind of force her away. She doesn't have a whole lot of HP, so more pressure I can apply to her at a distance is going to be to my benefit. Over here, Anticity manages to get my Manticore into an Enrage, which is going to come at the cost of some HP damage to his Scourge Runner Chariots, but at the same time, he should be able to screen quite nicely here with the Dark Riders and just take care of it in a big hurry. Meanwhile, basically uncontested here in the center, Marathi lands. Not sure exactly what she landed on, but I managed to catch her up with the Poison Warhounds here. The regular Warhounds also reinforcing, and here comes the big boy. So now we get a nice size comparison. Wrathy's a relatively normally sized, flying horse lord, and just look at the size of this dude. He whips his sword out now, fancy new animations, a little bit of a sound bug, but Soul Stealer goes off. And another Spirit Leech as well, and just look at the damage on Morathi. This is even without Slayer of Kings, right? And I think if I zoom too close while the spell effects are active, it actually bugs out the sound. But anyway, gotta see Archaon's new animations. Yeah, puts his sword back. And we're back. Yeah, Morathi is basically done, just like that. A little bit of a new bombardment. Well, it's an old bombardment. Not piercing bolts of burning, searing doom, which I don't know, I almost like the old one better a little bit personally. But speaking of Archaon, he does have a new loadout, brand new spell kit. Armor of Morkar also gives AoE melee defense and charge reflection. He gets fight or die instead of stand or die now, and also his items have been reworked, but I didn't take them all here. Crown of Domination does make him cause terror though, so that's nice. That is quite nice. Anyway, the spawns come up. They advance, seize objective number 2 pretty decisively. Uncontested, we've got a K-Knight Assassin hidden to me, of course. He's stalked over there capturing that objective, but a big pitch brawl is going to ensue. Anticity gets a little bit close with his Scourge Runner Chariots, and I just charge out. The Nurgle spawn lead the way with their poison, and the Khorne spawn are able to follow up with their massive weapon strength. And it's a bad day to be a Scourge Runner Chariot driver. Of course, Archaon's also stuck at the center of this. We've got Marauder Horsemen and Hounds all over the place, just continuing to dog the Scourge Runner Chariots. And no pun intended. Some Shades coming out here with some Repeater Crossbows and some Dark Riders as well. So Anticity also just reinforcing with all of his Vanguard forces at this point. But the spawn of Slaanesh now come through. They're going to get into the squishy elves and start to feast on their souls. Be able to take out some Dark Riders very efficiently. Probably overrun into the Shades, to be honest, but we'll see. Poor Banner of Blessed Dread being bloodied by the brutal bashing of the spawn. Tentacles. I ran out of rhymes. Anyway. Archaon now just smashing the Manticore, and man, he's even like bigger than the Manticore. It's, dude, I can't get over how huge he is now. It's awesome. Finally, Dorgar literally is bigger than a bear. So anyway, Scourge Runner Chariots continuing to just get manually dismantled by spawn. They're kind of caught up between many rocks and many tentacled hard places. And yeah, like I said, the Slaanesh spawn just overrunning into the Shades there. Marauders also pushing through. The Tzeentch spawn, barrier long gone. Should be able to get in and still mash it up pretty good. Ooh, a couple of them just get felled right on the charge there, but still manage to make contact and also soak a lot of the bolts of their Repeater Crossbows and the Shades. Of course, Morathi just hanging back for the time being, trying not to get killed. I'm pretty resurgent in terms of kind of over-aggressively pushing perhaps into my opponent's spawn, and I notice this is a tendency I have when I'm, sort of feeling my oats, you could say, sort of feeling my offensive power. I oftentimes will sort of over-pursue into my opponent's objective, but getting a couple more horsemen over here, try and capture this objective just in case this overextension goes poorly. I have a place to fall back to, and at the very least get a triple cap to try and guarantee a faster win, since there, of course, is no catch-up mechanic. Sisters of Slaughter coming in here. Another really nice Soul Stealer. Hits a whole bunch of units. I think the Marauder Horsemen also seem a little bit bigger as well. Didn't think they increased the size there. Black Dragon Egg goes off. Does a little bit of damage. Not going to do anything too crazy. But at this point, Archaon takes a couple of nasty volleys from the Repeater Crossbows. Soul Stealer, Web of Shadows from the K-Knight Assassin, and all of a sudden he's being forced away between the poison speed debuff, I believe. Yeah, K-Knight Assassin has poison missiles. He does, yes. And the speed debuff from the Web of Shadows. He actually gets caught and killed, straight up assassinated by the K-Knight Assassin. So this dude's definitely getting some kind of promotion if he manages to survive this battle. Morathi, unfortunately, is also in a horrendous situation. She tried to dive down to support her cavalry, but spawn are unbreakable, so they're not really going to go anywhere until they're all fully dead. And she manages to find herself kind of surrounded by Slanesh spawn, so this is a disaster for Marathi. You could say their massive weapon strength is going to demolish her fairly quickly unless she's able to get out. So Perfect Musk also kind of helps even out the difference in stats because of the AoE debuffs that she has, right? But we'll see. Let's keep her health in the background as we take a wider look at the battlefield here. Marauder Horsemen trying to counteract the Dark Riders coming to sort of wrest this objective, run some distraction, but have plenty of different mobile units to collapse from different angles and catch them. The Manticore is also diving in. Marathi finally succumbs to the Slanesh spawn. Does have a little bit of HP though, so she's able to get away up in the air, which she did. She might come back from route. K-Knight Assassin also going to seize my other side objective, but of course the Marauder Horsemen with the support of Manticores, no question, they're going to easily best these Dark Riders, terrify them away. Given in this sort of woodland engagement that none of these cavalry or monsters were really meant to fight in. Looks like we've got another Soul Stealer from Marathi. It's going to do a tiny bit of damage, but yeah, won't really heal her all that much. It used to be that if you would cast 5 Soul Stealers, you could get Marathi to her healing cap. Now, I think, even though she has spell mastery of Greater Arcane Conduit, I think they just lowered the values enough. Originally, I had thought that Soul Stealer might heal more because it's a percentage base now, but I don't know. I think maybe they need to go back and readdress some of those values. Obviously, like I've said in many videos, we'll continue to say the balance of this is not final, and even after Immortal Empires releases, I would expect there still need plenty of balancing just because there's so much stuff in this game. I mean, yeah, even if you had hundreds of people testing, it would probably take a while to figure everything out. Anyway, the Dark Riders here, though, helping her out Marathi, bailing her out from another Manticore attack. She's just chilling on the ground for now. It looks like manually landed. I'm going to go for another Manticore attack here and bring in some follow-up hounds to really try and put the nail in the coffin. Because, you know, it's not often in a game like this where I get to beat a player like Anticity. You know, it's definitely during the times when it's kind of the Wild West of all of us trying to learn the new stuff and figuring out what's good and what's not. Yeah, I don't know. Unless Marathi, they fix Soul Stealer, I don't know if Marathi's going to be as meta as she was in Warhammer 2, which is a little bit sad for some people, but other people might be happy about that. Not really sure. It would be nice to see like Malice or Malekith or some of the other Dark Elf legendary lords maybe make their way into the meta for some time. I personally wouldn't be too mad if Marathi wasn't all that great in the meta, but unfortunately Malekith also shares the same spells, so at least some of them. Anyway, all of that aside, Archaon coming in doing almost 3,000 damage value. Definitely pays for himself. The spawn performance, a little bit of a mixed bag. The Slanesh spawn helping to beat down Marathi and also getting into the squishy shades definitely helped them perform past their cost. The rest of the spawn, I mean, they fulfill their role of capturing the objective and just giving a nice monstrous presence to mash up light Dark Elf units. I mean, to be honest, even in Warhammer 2, I was a fan of taking Undivided spawn with Warriors of Chaos into Dark Elves in land battles and such. But anyway, Manticores also perform quite well. Both of them, one of them pays for themselves, one of them does not. But the Horsemen and Hounds, just mass reinforcements, definitely a very strong style of play on these bigger domination maps. I'd be curious if I went up like against a very concerted heavy infantry force, given all of the woods on this map. Something like, you know, a combination of Blackguard and Executioners. Honestly, on this particular map, given that you're relatively safe from shock damage from monsters and cavalry to a degree, also much more safe from ranged attacks. I don't know, maybe it's sort of an elite melee infantry map, but anyway, very fun game, good game to Anticity. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. I guess I should just briefly mouse over the Dark Elf. As I'm kind of doing my outro, we'll just briefly mouse over all the Dark Elf values as well, so you guys can see those. And yeah, like I said, missile units did okay. Some of the other ones, not. The ROR Doomfire Warlocks, the Neshus Harvesters actually did it okay, but again, not quite enough to pay for themselves. So that's it. Anyway, thanks again. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, guys.